Good evening, watchers, and welcome to another movie review today. And what I'm going to do is review all the Resident Evil movies from 1 to the final chapter. Now, the first film we're going to review is the first Resident Evil, directed by Paul Anderson, who directed films like Mortal Kombat and Event Horizon, great films like Event Horizon 2. Yeah, Event Horizon, which I love that film. Now the first one, this was released in 2001. And this first introduces a character called Alice, played by Mila Jovovich. How you pronounce the name? The thing is, the film was kind of controversial when it came out because people didn't seem to like these films because the first one, because it doesn't really follow the storylines from the video games, and it has different characters, certain different characters in it. But anyway, it's a kind of good thing because they don't kind of, if they kind of, I mean, I would have preferred to see characters like Chris Redfield and like in the first video from the first game we got Chris Redfield and characters like so yeah, you know, the mansion. Of course, in this film, is like at the beginning of the film, it starts off in like a lab, a place called the Hive. It's like Umbrella Lab, right? At the beginning of the film, because at the beginning of the film, right, the T virus is released by, you know, but of course then the place is on lockdown by freaking the Red Queen, who kills everyone in the, you know, in the building. Of course, it's like underground place. It's like a secret base underground, and of course the stuff is released. The virus, of course, affects everyone in the building, of course. And then later on, after those, you know, after the part where everyone's like, you know, on lockdown, literally, get locked in. Some of them get locked into some of these like labs and stuff like that, and then some of the characters down like an elevator, of course, which is kind of scary because there's one part where one woman gets her head trapped in like in the elevator, she's trying to get out, right, and then her head gets stuck. So that's a scary scene. I mean, I wouldn't like to be. I wouldn't like my head to be. It reminds me of a scene in remember a film called what's this film called? Final Destination. There's one scene where that woman gets her head stuck in the. Anyway, that scene was pretty scary. Anyway, so like I said, the first one released in 2001, I think it was. She's great in it. She looks great in that outfit. So you know, so yeah, I remember I was like, oh, she's nude in it. Okay, so yeah, you did see her quite. She's quite nude in this film. I was like, at the end of the film, she's very nude. You see a lot of bush. You see a lot of bush in it. So yeah, so. Not a lot of bullshit, you do see something like that. But yeah. So anyway. So it introduces her character just after that scene, and there's like a part where she wakes up in this like mansion. A bit like the first Resident Evil video game where it's like a creepy mansion. Not as creepy as that though, I don't think. This mansion is not as creepy as that. That mansion was creepy as all with it, you know. It's just creepy the first two. So yeah. Anyway, so you see her waking up in the mansion, of course, and then I like this scene where she kind of goes out the door, right? And next minute you see the crows outside, like, you know, like in the movies. No, in the video games where the crows attack. When they actually see the crows outside, and they're like, you know, loads of crows outside. It's pretty cool scene, I think. But then you see her like wearing this cool like red, you know, she's like wearing this cool like outfit. You know, I love that outfit. It's cool. So it's like red and it's like, you know, and short and everything. So yeah. So anyway. She goes back in next minute. These guys come in. No, she gets grabbed by this guy, right? Who later on is, you know, who becomes Nemesis later on, of course. She gets the next minute. You see these like commando guys jumping through the window, like, you know, you just think, who the hell are these guys? And one guy is the black guys. I've seen him in quite a lot of films. He's on James Bond and stuff like that. They get one of the commandos. But anyway, enough of the actors in it. Let's go on with the story. Well, I'm not going to explain too much because, you know, there's too much jokes. But I do genuinely like these films. I think they're fun. I'm just trying to get comfortable. So yeah. So what they go and do, they go, of course, they do the stupidest thing by going downwards. They go down with the to kind of investigate. Really, they go to the base, to the hive. Of course, when they go down there, they have a lot of trouble with, you know, the stupid thing they do is that they try to get through to the Red Queen, right? Of course, some of them, like, you know, there's like a door right, there's blocked right, but so they're trying to get in through that door. Of course, they do eventually get through, and they all kind of go in, right, and they're like, and then you think to yourself, this is too easy, you know. And next minute, the door shuts, right. This scene was kind of cool, actually. I do like this scene. It's probably my favourite. I don't know. There's quite a lot of favourite scenes in this one, but that scene was pretty cool. Quite a scary scene, because you think, oh shit, she's got them locked down, and good security, that's for sure, for burglars. Just imagine having a door that shuts, and now she's like laser beams that freaking can cut through you like cut through you like butter, you know. So, but yeah, that scene was great. Of course, in the video games, they actually have them later on in the video games. You know, the laser beams. You know, on Resident Evil 6, there's one part where you're running through and these laser beams, you know, pop out, and they're like different, you know, a bit like that scene. You know, it's fantastic. I think that's a cool scene. People may crap on these films, but you know what? As a zombie action game, some of the best movies, some of the best you've ever seen, I think. Budget's great. I love the effects in it. Actually, you know, when you watch it now, it looks kind of tame compared to The Walking Dead. Because when you watch The Walking Dead, it's more full-on scary violence, you know. But these zombies are like, not quite as, you know, but it's still pretty, you know. Still wouldn't want to be bitten by a zombie, that's for sure. Of course, she gets bitten by a zombie, Finger's character. So anyway, but I like Miller because I think she's a good actress. I think she pulls off that character so well, better than, you know. I think any character could have played her, but I think she suits the role better than some people. If someone just got anyone from the, you know, just let's have her, it might not work too much. I think, but I liked her performance. I think she suits the character of Alice. But yeah, I like her character, Alice. She becomes more interesting later on. She starts having more special. She needs to have more strength and special powers later on. Of course, yeah. So she kind of have the, you know, because later on she starts to have more like skills and stuff, like even special powers, like stuff like that. So she can move things and stuff like that. So yeah, I like her character. I think she's cool. Of course, later on the clone, I don't know, like these clones and stuff like that. So yeah, so there's quite a lot of them. But that's pretty useful having a lot of Alice's in the world, helping out and stuff like that. So yeah. Anyway, so they all get like, anyway, they're trying to get through this door, right? This is cool scene where they're trying to get to the Red Queen, and they all go in, right? Next to me, these red beams come down, so they're locked in. First of all, there's like one that goes across the ground, and then the second one kind of like, you know, one tries, you know, well no, one goes across the ground. No, it's not. No, anyways, all the characters get killed. One gets like one gets her head chopped off. The other one gets half his body chopped off. One gets his hand freaking chopped off. Of course, that kind of kills him somehow. I don't know how. Anyways, it must have been painful, that's for sure. Anyway, because there's been blood loss, it's just in shock, I think. You know, and the shock killed him. And then the worst one has to be when Fingy's character gets the leader of the commander team gets his old body sliced and diced. You know, it's a bit like a scene. It reminds me of the scene from the Cube where the guy gets sliced. You know, in that. Remember the Cube film, the first part of the film where that guy gets sliced, and kind of reminds me of that. Pretty nasty, actually. I'm sure they watched that for. Let's have that scene in it. It's pretty cool. Anyway, so yeah, they have to go and get to. Of course, they do eventually get to the Queen, but they shut the thing down. The thing is, they shut her down. But the problem is, they let some of the zombies out. Actually, they let them all out. Of course, I'm trying to. I don't want to talk too much. So later on in the film, when they have this shootout with these zombies, of course, there's like a massive. Like the explosion is pretty cool. I thought, yeah, wipe a few zombies out. Of course, the problem is though, right? She lets out this monster gets let out. It's like a licker. You know, remember Resident Evil 2? I don't think the lickers were in the first one. I'm not sure. I think there might have been. I think there's in the second one. I think they started off in the second one, I think. And these monsters called the lickers. I think the lickers, and they're like these long tongues. And yeah, you can actually see that pops up in the movie, of course. And it's kind of cool the way they do that, because it's like, I like the design of that. I like the licker design. So yeah. Of course, there's another character who's in it who's actually part of the storyline, and she's like kind of married to him. She thinks she is. Of course, there's a little bit of a twist on that whole situation. Turns out later on, she does explain who she is, Alice. So yeah. Yeah, the effects are pretty cool in it. I suppose in a way they look a bit dated now compared to 2001 was a long time ago now. God, it seems a long time ago. 2001, Jesus. So yeah, it's good film, so enjoyable. I do like the last bit though. It's fantastic. Yeah, because one of the characters, the guy who loses his memory, it's a bit of it might be a few spoilers in this. He was kind of behind it or some of it, so yeah, it's a bit of a spoiler there. But this other character, and he wakes up on the train, right? It's like a train that they take around. He wakes up there, right? Of course. Then you find out later on who he is because he loses his memory. Then when he does get his memory back, let's just say he doesn't quite turn out to be the nice guy that you expect him to be. You know, you think, oh, he seems a right guy. Then he kind of becomes a bit of a D-I-C-K, you know. So yeah, but yeah, I liked his character. I mean, but Alice is a badass for this. So yeah, great character. Like I said, I love the liquor in it. I love the part where he's trying to he tries to escape right with the virus, the antivirus. Of course, then the liquor, you can see the liquor above him dropping down, and then that scene was pretty cool. And then you see him eating him, and I think, oh crap, as long as that doesn't turn him into someone else, like another monster, like a liquor or something. But of course, the thing about the liquor though, right, it starts to mutate, eating flesh, live flesh. So of course that thing was created by live flesh. I think the Red Queen says it was created by, and that's what created that. So pretty cool, actually. Cool design. Of course, later on in the second one, it pops up in that one too. Kind of smaller ones actually. Anyway, so good scene. The last bit, I think the last bit is pretty cool where they're escaping on the train, man. And the liquor grabs the guy who's driving the train, and then that seems pretty cool because you see Fingers' characters almost dying on the, she's like dying, right? Then Fingers about to shoot, and then she says, "I'm not dead yet." So that scene was pretty cool. And then the monster somehow managed to get the liquor, the monster thing, tries to get gets onto the train. But I like the part where she grabs that pole, right, sticks it right through his tongue, and then she says, open the door, and the thing goes right through the freaking door. And I thought that was a cool scene. I did like the way they killed that monster. But yeah, cool effects this film has got. Of course, the last part leads up to the second one, with Nemesis and stuff like that, with the guy that she rescues. She tries to rescue this guy, and of course he gets grabbed by a bunch of freaking these people, of course, because he's been affected by that monster, of course. And then they take her to this facilities. Then she wakes up, and she's got these like needles in her and stuff like that. And she's nude again, of course. I'm not complaining about. And then I like that scene where she just kind of like walks out. She gets through the door, security door, and she walks out. And she's like, and then the place is deserted. She's like Raccoon City. It's all deserted. All she sees is cars and stuff like, and rubbish and stuff like. And I like that seems pretty good when she gets the shotgun from the police car, and then you know straight away she's become a badass, So yeah, that scene was pretty cool. I like that deserted town and stuff like. So yeah, cool film, good effects. I don't know, it's entertaining enough. So yeah, so I'm gonna give my rating out of 1 out of 10. Then I'm gonna watch the next one probably tomorrow, or whatever. So, so the rating I'm gonna give this film, Resident Evil, the first one, directed by Paul Anderson, is an 8 out of 10 because I think it's a really good film. To me, it's more accepted now. The film is because I don't know why. I think because the film's kind of old now, and then there's been sequels, and people seem to think actually this one's better. It's not a bad film, so I think because people don't like the new ones, I don't know. So yeah, I've always enjoyed this first one. It's not perfect. It could have been it could have followed the storyline better, like from the video game, but I'm not bored anymore. They're gonna reboot this series anyway, so no doubt about that. So yeah, so 8 out of 10 for first Resident Evil. Okay, right, another movie review. It's Resident Evil Apocalypse. As you can see, this is part 2 of Resident Evil. This is really, I don't know what year it was. I think this film came out in 2003. But I like this one, really much do like. It's not perfect, like the first one's not perfect, this is not perfect, but you know what, these films are a blast, so yeah. And this film kind of takes place before, no actually it takes place at the beginning of the film. It takes place about 13 hours before, takes place 13 hours before the first, just between the last one. So it's like, at the beginning, like I said, it takes about 13 hours before, so yeah, and then you see, because at the beginning of the film you see waking up as in the first part of the film. The last part of the film. At the beginning of this film, you see her waking up as in the last part of the film of the first Resident Evil when she woke up in that lab, and then this one she wakes up, takes just after that part of the film, and it introduces characters like Jill Valentine's and characters like which. The only problem with this film, though, the only thing I have problem with this is Jill Valentine. She smokes in it, and in the video game she doesn't smoke at all. I mean, she's a really hot-looking character, so I'm not saying she's not hot in this film. It's just she smokes in it. It's like why make a character smoke? Have you ever played the video games? Jesus Christ, she never smoked. So yeah, they got that wrong. They got certain things about the film wrong, but you know what? I like it. It's still a very enjoyable film. Introduces character, and then what else does it introduces this black guy in it, and he has you know in the video games you got like the gold pistols and the certain box. Well, on this one he has these two like gold pistols. So his, I like the way the nod did from the video game to the I like the way a bit of a nod there with the gold guns and stuff like that. Anyway, he shoots people. It's just pretty badass, and she's great now. I mean, heck. Really good film, enjoyable. Yeah, like I said, they have to rescue this girl, right? I can't remember her name now. It's this like girl who's lost because at the beginning of the film, like they go to the girl's house, these people do, and he's picking cars on and of course this guy lives it. His daughter's like, his daughter lives with him, but they take his daughter off because thing is that the car that they're driving in gets hit by like a truck. I mean a big bloody truck too. It gets knocked upside down. So of course later on in the film, some of the characters the characters like the survivors, asked if they can rescue her from this school. So they go into the school and they have to find her there later on in the film. So yeah. Of course, there's like stars. This is when you introduce the stars characters. Like remember the video games. There's like stars, stuff like they're like the law. But yeah, it's fantastic. I enjoyed it. It's not perfect, like I said, but the first one's not perfect. But more accepted now compared to years back when people didn't like them because they didn't really follow the video game that much. But I think they do kind of. They do it their own pace in the way they introduce the characters and stuff like in the video game, but they do something different instead of like copying it. But hopefully, when they do the movies again, even TV show, make it more gritty and dark and scarier, creepier, like in the movie, like the video games. But less action, more kind of like psychological horror, still kind of a bit of action though. But yeah, I like Finger's performance. Mila Joffrey, she's great. Honestly, God, I like the part when they're in the church, right? They're in the church. This part's pretty cool. I thought it's a bit over the top, maybe, but pretty cool scene there, right? Where they're all in the church, right? The survivors, and this guy comes out, right, with a gun, right? And I'm thinking to myself, if you're on your own, right, you don't want to be on your own, do you? And then you got some survivors, and you go, oh no, who are you? It's like this guy's literally panicking. I think, well, I'll be happy to have survivors. If some people, if the place is overrun by monsters and stuff, you're gonna be kind of. Where's the survivors? Not that pointing a gun at someone. Jesus Christ, this guy's literally panicking. But this part was pretty cool because in the first one you saw the lickers, didn't you? And this one you got more lickers in it, but they're like smaller lickers. The lickers from Resident Evil 2. I remember the first part in Resident Evil 2 where you're in the police station, man. That licker drops down and stuff. Oh god, those things were freaky. Actually, you notice something about those lickers. They look very much like Venom from Spider-Man. Remember Venom? He looks like a licker from Resident Evil, think about it. Oh, actually, would it be, there's another character. Carnage. Is it Carnage? I can't remember. He looks a bit like a licker. So, yeah. Yeah, but the part when the church is pretty cool, I think, where you see the lickers in there, then it's like about 3 of them, right? And one of them kills the guy there. Of course, Jill Valentine goes upstairs. She goes one part of the building, right, in the church, right, and then you see this woman sitting down, right, and you think, huh. And the guy there is feeding the zombie, the woman, freaking body parts. It's like, what the hell? And he gets bitten, so Of course, he kind of deserves to get bitten because that's crazy. It's feeding dead body parts to his freaking dead wife or something. It's crazy. Not all there, I tell you, not all there. So yeah. But the part where they're in the church, right, and they're all like trying to, you know, figure out how to kill these Splitters. I like the part where Slickers, right, that's what they're called. I like the part where I think his character, Jill, no, not Jill. Yeah, I like the part when they're in the church and they're all like trying to figure out how to kill these Slickers, right, and they're thinking, what the hell are they? I like the part where, you know, they're like, and then I like the part where Thingy comes through the window, right, through the church window, right, Alice, she comes flying through, drops down, she catches one of the lickers, right, and then somehow she manages to kill all three of them. But I think this is one of my favourite scenes where she flips off a bike, she kind of jumps up like she has, you can tell straight away she has these special powers, and then the bike kind of goes towards the licker, goes up in the air, and she shoots the bullets and they go straight into the bike, boom. That scene was cool. You can shit on these much as you like, but the action scenes are pretty awesome compared to some of the action scenes. I don't know, I just think they're more kind of... Anyway, this film's directed by Anderson, who directed the first Resident Evil, and he directed the rest. Actually, he didn't direct all of them, actually. I don't think he directed the third one. I'm sure he directed this one. I'm sure he directed this one too, I don't know. Don't say he directed, because I've got no freaking thing on it, so yeah, I can't really say. So anyway, really enjoyed this film. Action backs all the way, so yeah. Pretty, I don't know. Did he direct this film? I don't know. You know, I've no idea who directed this film. I think it was Anderson. I think it was. Anyway. So anyway, it's not important. Anyway, the action scenes are fantastic. I like the way they bring Nemesis into the film, like, because the guy in the first film, he got infected, and in this one you find out it's him later on in the film who's either been experimented on and created this like Nemesis program, and it's pretty badass actually. I think the action scenes are fantastic. I like the fact that the guy in it, and he says, right, okay, let's turn on the Nemesis program, and it's like, no one sees his eyes, his blue eyes, and he thinks, and you show you think that's Nemesis. Actually, Nemesis in the video game was more intimidating, because in this one they kind of like sympathise towards him a little bit, instead of making him the main... if I had done this one, I would have done it like, nothing's really wrong with the film, it's just that Nemesis isn't really that scary compared to the video game. That's the only problem. Because in the video game, he runs after him, he literally chases him, but in this one, he's kind of like, he's walking, he's like slow as hell, it's like, but yeah, Nemesis was terrifying in that game. I mean, if I did Nemesis though, right, in the film, I would have made him more kind of like, one thing, I would have like, maybe ran more. Actually, the walking wasn't really the problem, it's just the fact that he didn't really mutate in it. He should have mutated, like, they kill him once, they mutated, and it becomes worse and worse and worse. Like in the video game, I think he mutated. He kept on mutating all the time, getting faster and faster and stuff like that. I think it's been a while since I played it, so yeah. And the cool part where he kills all the people in that building, is it like a police station? It's like the black guy runs into these stars, right, which are like cops. So yeah, stars are cops, right. He runs into him, right, and the next minute you see Nemesis pop out, right, with these freaking guns, right, and one of the guys is on the top of the roof of one of these buildings, right, and he's like shooting bullets right through Nemesis, right, and he's like, Jesus Christ, the next minute Nemesis shoots like a rocket right at the top of the building, kills him, right, and then they start shooting. I like the fact we actually see Nemesis' view, right, where he's like, Stars members 12 and then the civilian 1, and he doesn't kill the civilians, he gets his orders to kill all the stars. And I like the way they did that, where the bullets are just going right through missing him, and that scene was pretty funny actually. Not funny, but this part after what he says afterwards, he says, "Hey man," he drops his guns after, so he kind of thinks, yeah, because he ain't got a chance against Nemesis, that's for sure. But yeah, some fantastic action scenes. Of course, they have to go in the school, right? Of course, the daft thing they do is go on. They go on their own in the school. It's like, what are you doing? Don't go on your bloody own. You go in a group. If you go on your own, she's gonna probably die. That bloody woman in it, the finger woman. Of course, she goes upstairs or something. She goes into this classroom, and then it's like a girl who's eating body flesh, eating flesh, and then she gets attacked, and it's like she's dead. So yeah, pretty badass film though. There's another scene I like. It was the part where they have to get to the helicopter, so they have to kill all the people, all the umbrella people there, all the people in these, like, they wear like these helmets and stuff. I have no idea where they're wearing helmets. So it's pretty, I can't remember wearing helmets in the video game. Oh, helmets. Anyway, that wearing bike helmets and stuff like that, so they have to disarm them all. And that scene was pretty cool because you see Thing at Alice coming down the building, and that scene was so cool the way they did that. Of course, they have a real stunt person doing that, and it's pretty cool. It's actually cooler when you use a stunt real person going down a real building. So, yeah, so that scene was pretty cool. Another scene I did like. There's a lot of scenes I like in this film, but there's another scene I like was where one of the guys gets shot by the Nemesis, right? And she jumps over and she has a confrontation with freaking Nemesis, right? Alice does, and then she gets whacked into a part of the wall. The next bit, I like the part where she's going through the building, right, getting shot by a Nemesis, jumping through windows, right, and then she shoots the wall, right, drops down, and she kind of like shoots his feet. There was no point in doing that. And then she drops down into this she drops down, and then he shoots another rocket. And that scene was pretty cool. The film's got some fantastic action scenes. I mean, I enjoyed the film. But, you know, I'm not sure what number 6 is like, but some it's not really good. But then some people say it is. Well, I don't know. Best to be the judge and jury. Actually, some of the acting's pretty solid in this film too. Some really solid piece of acting. Some of it's not the best. Some of it kind of reminds me of Resident Evil 1. You know, the acting. Some of it, a little bit, not as bad. The part after the part when in the school, this scene was pretty cool when they're in the when the woman's like that, says, "Oh, the sucker, they're a bit slow, right?" She's with the girl, right? She finds the girl, and next minute she says, "Not them, them." And you see those freaking dead dogs, freaking. And I think, oh shoot, remember the dead dogs, zombie dogs? They're pretty scary. Actually, they're more scary than the zombies because they're more quicker, because they're like more agile. I don't know why though. Actually, they should be freaking like zombies, you know, just walking around like, you know. It seems like the dogs are more kind of like smarter in a way. It's weird. And the last part's pretty cool. I do like the last bit where the villain in it, tries to force Nemesis and Alice to have a fight. Of course, they do have a fight, but then afterwards, he's telling them to kill him, right? Then she starts to remember it's Max from the first movie, which is a bit of a spoiler there, because you see by his eyes, he's got blue eyes. And then she's like, no, I'm not killing her. And then I like the fact that Nemesis turns against them. So you think, screw this, and he starts shooting everyone. It's pretty cool. And there's a few nods towards Resident Evil Veronica, which I enjoyed for the Dreamcast. The part where she's running through the building like that, and then the helicopter's shooting, and she's doing that, running, and she jumps. And in Resident Evil Veronica, Claire Redfield is like running through a building, man. The bullet shoots the gun to like shoot into the bullets, and she's getting shot by a helicopter. And that scene was a nod between that and the scene where she's got like umbrella people right in front of her, right? Asks them to drop the gun, right? She drops it, and then she drops down, shoot, like that. Shoots them when she's dropping down. Now in Resident Evil, no one's ever played this. In Resident Evil Veronica, she does the same thing. Claire Redfield does the same thing. Claire Redfield is the brother of Chris Redfield, of course. Actually, no, the guy in this, there's like a French guy in it, right? He's like part of Umbrella, right? But the thing is, he looks more like Chris Redfield. He should have played Chris Redfield. Actually, he would have played a French Redfield. Get it, French. Because he looks a bit like Chris Redfield more than Finger's character later on. So yeah. If you know what I'm talking about, so forget it. Just forget it, man. Just forget it. And the last part's pretty cool with the escape, right? Of course, the villain gets his own just desserts, right? I like the part where they're dropping down, right? Next one, they're making it escape, and then the next one is this rocket comes zooming by, and I think the effects are fantastic in this film. And it's, you know, he actually hits right in the centre of the building, right? Just above it, and then explodes and then it was glass like that. You know, that seems pretty cool. The thing is, alright, when that happens, the helicopter gets caught up in its wake. So, and then next bit, a part of the plane, something debris from the inside of the plane almost hits the girl, and then she jumps in the way at Alice, so she gets hit by she actually gets killed by the debris from inside the plane. Of course, later on, they clone her again. I think they clone her. I'm not sure now. Did they clone her? Then they must have cloned her because they bring her back. It's like, you know, that's what they can do in these films. They can clone a character. So yeah, which is kind of crazy, you know. So yeah, of course, after they took out from the you know, deep sleep hibernation water thing, what do you call it, the bath from hell, whatever, the water thing, which is in this like water tube thing. She starts remembering things, and that part was pretty cool. I like the part where she says, "My name is Alice," and she almost kills this guy with a pen, and she goes, "Nope, whack." And this part was kind of cool, the way she just walks through she's like walking down, right? This guy's got his cameras on him, these CCTV cameras, right? Next minute, all of them like come on her, right? And then she starts looking into the camera, she kills the guy right there. Like, she has the force. She kind of has the force when she does that. She kind of goes, and she kills the guy. And it's a pretty cool scene, but then they don't really do that later on in the films. They don't have where she has those special powers. Because it kind of looks like she's becoming the villain there, the bad guy, which I like to have seen. Which is like a darker version of her. Could have been where she's the villain there, and then the real one comes out later, like another one who helps them. I would have preferred that. That would have been more interesting. So imagine her becoming the villain, like there's two of them. An evil one. You know, a bit like in Resident Evil 6 where it was Ada Wong, a bit of a spoiler, but it's two Ada Wongs and stuff like that. And this wasn't the real Alice, is that? Only an interesting one. So yeah, I'm going to give my view between 1 and 10, and I give this film an 8 out of 10 because I really enjoyed it. It's not like full on perfect, but you know what, it's a blast. 8 out of 10 for Resident Evil Apocalypse. I love the action scenes. I thought it was a pretty good storyline, but the action scenes are like, oh my god, some fantastic action scenes, especially the part with the graveyard, and she's taking out all the zombies and fighting them and doing that stuff. I love the kicks that she does. It's pretty, yeah, she's like Buffy the Vampire Slayer in this. So yeah, 8 out of 10 for Resident Evil Apocalypse. Very good film, enjoyed it. So yeah, check it out, it's very good. So yeah, 8 out of 10. Right, my next review is Resident Evil Extinction. Now this film was awesome. I think this film was so damn kind of creepy compared to the other Resident Evil films, because I think it more stays close to the video games, the first two, maybe in the first three video games, because it has that kind of creepiness to it compared to the other ones. Still has a lot of action scenes, but Alice is like total badasses, and to me it kind of has a more kind of Mad Max feel about it, a western feel, because at the beginning of the film you see him like running over freaking dead bodies and stuff, you know, like never mind. So, and the desert feel, has more of a desert feel, like the westerns and stuff like that. And of course this one introduces Alice in it. Alice introduces Claire Redfield in this, played by Ali Lato, who I think is fantastic. She's great in this. I think when you think about it, I think right, she would have made a great Sarah Connor more than the other one. If they'd had her instead of, I think it would have been a better film, because I think Ali Lato's got a lot of charisma. She's a fantastic actress, and I think she would have made it better. Sarah Connor for the rebooted Terminator movies, I think, because I think she's an actress and she's, you know, stunning looking too. Hell, but yeah, she's great in this. I like the beginning of the film where it has kind of like replica of the first film from the first Resident Evil film, where she wakes up in like a bath, in like a bathroom, and then she's like, it's like a replica of that, where she's like puts the red dress on, the red outfit on, and she's walking along, and then you see that inside of that mansion house, that big house, and but then when she goes through, right, she goes like, looks like this picture of herself and that guy from the first Resident Evil, who turns out to be a complete DICK. And anyway, she walks along, she opens it, she goes through this door, right, and then she's like through that, you know, that part where there's beams that come in the first film where they all go through and they get locked in, and you know, she goes through. And I like this part where she goes through, right, and it plays the first film. This film actually plays with your head, because you think, hang on a minute, am I watching the same film again? Because it's pretty. I like the way they did this. Actually, I like the coolness. This film has some cool moments in it. I'm not joking. I'm like, god damn. And she walks down, right. Next minute, and she gets locked in, and the next minute you see there's freaking beams come, like in the first film, almost gets, you know, I think that's such a cool scene. This film has some cool scenes. I think, wow, I like the way the beams come and she almost gets killed straight away in this film. It's like, how the hell? And she jumps up, climbs that, goes, you know, and she drops. No, she goes through. She somehow escapes the beams right at the top, and she's at next minute she's in this like corridor, this creepy white corridors, like then she gets shot by these freaking guns. So you think, oh, hang on a minute. So she gets shot by these freaking, I don't know what, it's like a sensor thing. It's like these things just jump up and shoot her. You know, this spin around and shoot her like this freaking cool looking gun things. But yeah, that scene was pretty cool. And then it has a bit of a twist in it. And turns out there's a lot of copies of her. They're like experimenting on stuff like that. So yeah. So yeah, the film is good. I was like, wow, this film's got a few twists in this. Honest to God, I'm like, wow. I like the fact that the clone done. There's like a lot of her. Like, just like, of course, that plays later on in the films. There's like copies of her. So yeah. Of course, there's like, of course, she's left like. The reason why she's like on her own because she left because there's like the tagging her and they know where she is, so, and it puts her team in danger, so she's kind of left them, and there's like another team and they're like led by Claire Redfield and stuff, and the guy from the other two from the last film. You don't see Jill Valentine till later on in the fourth one. It was a bit of a spoiler, so yeah. But yeah, awesome film. I enjoyed this. Like I said, I love the desert film. I love the fact that they go to Nevada to get just Las Vegas. Of course, they run into. You know the scene that really creeped me out. I mean, there's a lot of film scenes that creep me out in this film, but the part where they're sitting, they're in like the base, which is below like where these zombies are. It's like a small little shack or something. And it's like below this, like the facility. And they're experimenting with zombie, trying to make him more intelligent, man. And I tell you, I was just like creepy as hell. I don't know why it always reminds me of Return of the Living Dead 3. You know that zombie, where he's got that creepy smile on his face, and he's like, I don't know, I won't want to be in that room with that, no way. And they're trying to make it more intelligent, right? By answering a phone and then doing this freaking puzzle. Of course, it makes it more angry, and it starts to like. You know, it's more faster too. It's like, you know, the problem is it makes it more quicker these days. Make it more like in Resident Evil and the other Resident Evil, where they start running and stuff like. What are they called? I can't remember the zombies are called now. It's top of the back. It's back of my head right now. Where they start running at you. And that scene was creepy because it starts getting angry. It starts attacking the what do you call them? The doctors, the scientists, whatever. The people that experiment on. Of course, there's a character called Dr. Isaacs who. You know, he's not a nice guy. He was in Resident Evil 2. I think he was in the first one too. I'm not sure. I can't remember now. I'm sure he pops up in one part. Anyway, he's in number 2, but you only see a bit of him in it. So yeah, of course Wesker's in this too. It's of course played by a different actor. Wesker's a character from who portrays the Stars team in the first Resident Evil. Bit of a spoiler there. Turns out to be a bit of a main villain in it. Wesker. Of course, he makes appearances in it, but he's played by a different actor. I don't know who he's played by. And it's not quite as cool looking. He's like just It's like played by a different actor. It's like they've got some actor and went, oh, let's get him over there. Let's just paint his hair white and put a bit of his white or blonde. They might as well just got freaking someone else. So anyway, they painted, you know, that painted his hair white and then yellow. So they put a pair of glasses on it. To be honest, the guy isn't that good in it. He's still alright, but he's like just throw him in there and the rest Wesker. But the guy who plays Wesker in the other films is a lot better. It looks more kind of like intimidating. Because remember Wesker in the games, like, alright, he's quite scary, his voice and everything. I don't know, he just had to intimidate this about him. But yeah, I enjoyed this film a lot. But yeah, they start to experiment on these zombies, and well, of course that plays later on in the film where they go to Nevada, Las Vegas, and these containers are blocking their path, so they've got to. Of course, these zombies start running out, start attacking them, killing a few of the characters in it. Of course, the other guy in it from the second one got bitten later on in the film, but when they went in this building, trying to cut his review short, so you know. Of course, they try shutting her down to get her DNA for some reason. Of course, they almost shut her down, but then she wakes up and she starts slicing and dicing everyone. Of course, she goes after Isaac, who escapes in a blooming helicopter. That scene was pretty cool, where she's just about to shoot the helicopter, right? it's slow motion, then it just kind of goes. You know what? We need the helicopter to go to Alaska, you know, because they said it's more safe up there, isolated. But yeah, fantastic movie. Of course, one of the guys gets bitten, and so he thinks, well, the only way to get through that, through the zombies, is to blow, you know, to make it an entrance, like a path for them to get to the helicopter, the survivors, the group. That scene was pretty cool. It's kind of sad because he gets, of course, he finds the smoke in the car, the truck, and he goes, "You son of a bitch," and he smokes, and he goes, pretty cool scene. I thought he was a cool character. He kind of reminds me of Chris Redfield a little bit, like a French version of Chris Redfield. Of course, he turns up later on in the series, and number 5 is it, which I enjoyed. I think it's a badass movie. The last part is pretty cool because the guy Isaac gets infected, right? He gets bitten before he gets on the helicopter. Of course, he starts pumping himself with the T-virus. He starts infecting himself with the virus, right? His antivirus, whatever. Of course, he starts to get infected more. Starts to like look really freaky looking. So that part is pretty cool where she goes down to the facility. No, before I talk about the scene where she goes into this building, right? It looks, and she meets this woman right there, and she's kind of holding a baby, and then turns out to be, it's like a trap for her, and then she gets like, she's at the bottom, and they're all like watching her, and she gets tapped by the dogs. And I love the part where she wraps these freaking wires around these pillars, right? She gets the dogs to freaking pull the so they'll like drop down. It's a great way to escape. I think she could have escaped there actually, no problem. She could have just jumped up, but I like the way the dogs attack to the character, the crazy people. I love that scene. I love that. It's a great scene, guys. Hillbillies, I don't know though. But yeah, nasty piece of work there. But I like the way she used the brain to, escape. Fantastic. It's got some great moments in this film. Like I said, I think it's probably the best in the series. My favourite up to now, because I'm watching them all in order. So yeah. Actually, I think it's more close to the Resident Evil games than the other ones. I think this one was, because it's kind of got that creepiness in it. It's got creepy moments. The last part's pretty creepy, which ends up in the facility again. Yeah, I like the last part where she goes down the elevator. It's like elevator thing, right? And she goes down. She's into like creepy, so kind of, you can tell something's been, the place is like full of blood and stuff, like, so blood's on, it's like blood on them. Well, she runs into the intelligence, this little girl who's part of the intelligent computer thing. Of course, she goes after Isaac, so of course she sees herself, like clone version of herself in this water bubble thing, where she's like, and that scene was pretty cool. The effects in this film are excellent. Actually, it wasn't directed by a finger this time. It was directed by. It's written by Paul W.S. Anderson, but it's Russell McCarthy. Don't know who he is. Don't know who he is, but he did a good job with this film. I think he made it kind of more creepier than the other two. Because these zombies are better in this one. Dr. Isaac's turned up, right? He's like all freaking like mutated. It's freaky. It's fantastic actually. The effects in this film, the practical effects I think in this film. I actually think they're best in the series thing because they're not like all CGI, like the proper, So yeah, but yeah, he looks freaky as hell. He looks really mutated. I like the battle between. I like the fact that she uses telekinesis. I said the word. She has these special powers, which is freaking cool the way she does it. And he has telekinesis too, the way he does things. Because there's one part where they're both having a fight, right, where she uses telekinesis on him. He's just about to kill her, right, and she has these like cool looking I don't know what they call them, swords, machetes or something. They're like machetes, I think. Anyway, she cuts them down right, and she kind of uses telekinesis to knock him backwards and stuff. But then he knocks her backwards through this like wall, right. And next minute, in the beam room, the beams come. I like that part where where she says you're just another asshole. I love that scene. Great. She has a good sense of humour. This, I think. Actually, I think she always has a good. She always. Like this, I think she's a good actress. I like her in these films. She's really good to watch. And Mila Jovanovic. I think she makes these films work. I mean, some people don't like her, but I think she's like her own character in this. Like, it's like having a spin-off from the Resident Evil series and having a character called Alice. So yeah, Really good film. I enjoyed it. I think another scene I like, the last part was pretty cool where he gets cut down by the beams. But like, the other scene I like where they're at they're all sleeping, right? And the next bit you see the birds pop up, the crows, and it's kind of nod to the other Resident Evil video games where you see the crows, attacking them. But on these, and I love that scene where she pops up, right? And she sets fire to all the crows, like, and all the crows are getting on fire like hot birds, and it's like a bonfire. It's like Guy Fawkes. It's like just the old birds are on fire. Like it's just freaking crazy. It's like whoa, crazy. So yeah, I love that scene. That scene was pretty cool because it's showing that some of the characters get killed in it. So yeah, that scene was pretty cool. Yeah, I liked it. Even stars him off Mortal Kombat, who played Johnny Cage. He turns up on this, plays like a part of the group, and then he climbs the Eiffel Tower. Not actually the literal one, because they're at the when they get an attack, right, he's on the Eiffel Tower and you see a zombie behind him attacking him, biting him, and he drops down and hits the freaking finger. So it's not really the full size Eiffel Tower because that'll take about a week to climb, So yeah, it's massive. It's like Eiffel, but this thing's like smaller, half its size. So yeah, it's not even half its size actually. The Eiffel Tower is like massive, So still pretty big size though. But yeah, I like this film. Yeah, great, good, solid performances, great characters again. I like Claire Redford. Ali Larter, she plays it really well in this. So yeah, and Thingy plays Alice is fantastic. So yeah, and great, fantastic action scenes where she's slicing and dicing zombies. Quite brutal, violent too. So yeah, okay. So I'm gonna give this a rating out of 10 now. I give this a 9 out of 10 because I think this is as close to the Resident Evil video games. It's fine. It's kind of got some creepy moments. It's not perfect again, but I enjoyed it. So yeah, 9 out of 10 for Resident Evil Extinction. So yeah, great performances. Great special effects, and like I said, it's got more creepy moments than compared to the other ones. It's like they went, let's make it more scary and creepy, and it's got some creepy moments here. So yeah, when I watched it, I thought, oh my god, this is creepy. It made me a little bit hurt when I first watched it. I thought, oh my god, it's actually quite creepy compared to the other two. So yeah, so 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10. Okay, right, next review is Resident Evil Afterlife. I finished about just over an hour ago. Because this is the 4th Resident Evil film, which I enjoyed this one very much. Very much. It stars Mila Jovovich, she returns. Of course, Weston Miller plays Chris Redfield. And then Ali Larter plays Claire Redfield. Of course, she returns in the franchise. I like the fact that the beginning of the film, it starts off like, at the part at the beginning where you see this woman in this rain. It's like it's raining non-stop, right? You see it's all slow motion, right? And you see this guy like walking, they're all like umbrellas, right? She's just like turns around and bites the guy on his neck. And that scene was pretty cool because I like the all slow-mo, cool music, The scene was pretty memorable, I'll tell you that beginning. It's got some cool... Notice about this film, it definitely has a Matrix feel about this film compared to the other ones, because the other ones are like, the first one was more Resident Evil, second one was more Resident Evil, I don't know, so anyways, like I said, it's got like a Matrix feel about it. I enjoyed this one very much. I love the slow-mo action scene. It definitely has a nod between the Matrix, nod towards the Matrix movies, because there's a part in the film where Alice, it's like a bunch of Alice's, they infiltrate the Umbrella headquarters, right, the facility, whatever you call it, right, and the part where she attacks, you see a bunch of her, right, it's like, you see her like, dodge, shoot, kind of like dodging bullets and stuff like that, and slow-mo shoot scenes and stuff like that at the beginning, and it's like, and of course, Wesker turns up, and of course it's played by, I'm not sure who the actor who plays Wesker, but he's a better Wesker than the last Wesker, because the other one was just like sitting in the chair and going, okay, so we should do this. So, but this Wesker is more kind of like badass, this is more close to the Wesker from the video games. And I like this Wesker in this movie, it's fantastic. Because he looks just like him from the video. He's just like Wesker, he's got the voice, he's got the way he moves and stuff, it's pretty cool. I like Wesker in this one, it's fantastic. He has more of a role in this one compared to the other ones, so yeah. He's not a very nice guy. So anyway, I like the beginning of it. It's just like a Matrix part at the beginning. It's fantastic. Of course, then later on she has to get to Alaska. Of course, there where she meets she meets up with Claire Redfield again. Of course, they put something on her chest right to control them all. Of course, because she finds her on the I suppose on her, she finds her on her own actually. So she's on her own. She's not with the group that she was in Resident Evil 3 with. The group that she took with they've been taken. Bit of a spoiler. So anyway, then they travel. They go to where do they go to? Los Angeles, right? And of course, the place is a complete mess. You know, it's like buildings, damaged buildings. The Hollywood signs on fire and all that. It's all kind of like smoke and stuff. It's like the whole place is kind of like damn messed up, completely messed up. It's like a massive earthquake. It hit it or something. So yeah. Of course, when they go to Los Angeles, Hollywood, they meet a bunch of survivors on this roof. They're in this they're on this roof, right? There's a bunch of them down. It's like some on the roof, someone. It's like a prison cell. It's like these, they're like hide out in this prison cell, which I suppose in a way it's the safest place. Instead of keeping people in, they're keeping the monsters out. So yeah, of course that's where they meet. These survivors. This brunette, this other guy, this guy who, there's like a poster on the wall, like a big, And then they meet Chris Redfield, played by Westman Miller. It's fantastic in it. I like him in this. I would have preferred someone else to play Chris Redfield, but he's not bad in this. I quite like him in this. Chris, too bad he wasn't in the fifth one, which is kind of odd. But yeah, I love those things. That plant's freaky. Those things freak me out more than ever. Of course, then there's one cool scene where you see this freaking. There's like a lot of cool scenes on this one, but I like the part where they're on the roof, right? And there's like zombies on the roof too, and they're like making it escape down this freaking thingy, right? It's like an elevator thing, right? And she like throws the bomb on the thing, right? She blows the top of the roof up, right? And she's like, oh, it's not really a roof. Well, I suppose it is a roof actually. And then she jumps down like that, like the way she drops down. The old roof is on fire, right? It's that explosion, right? And she drops down, shooting all the zombies, and she's like, I like the way she uses the she's got like a shotgun with coins as bullets. She uses coins as bullets, which is fantastic. And she's in a way it's effective, way more effective than ammunition. So yeah, of course, she uses one of them on these freaking giant monster things. They're like massive tall things with these massive hammers, and she uses them. She uses that on one of them later on in the film in the shower scene, which is cool. That scene was pretty awesome. That shower scene was. You got Claire Redfield, Alice, which sounds like a kind of like fancy of anyone, but then there's a monster, so keep the monster out, it'll be alright. So yeah, that scene was pretty freaky. It's like there's one part where they got to escape through this hole, right? And there's one of the guys is saying no, 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 no. No, I'm not doing it. I don't blame him because you're like that is tunnels, right? And these monsters go through the tunnels. These freaking, they're like worse than zombies, right? And he's like, no, no, no. And then he gets hit by the hammer, so it's like he gets cut in half. So yeah, he should have went. He probably would have died anyway from the film. So then you start about the guy who skates on the bloody plane. He skates on the plane, man. If he leaves, it's like what the hell? That guy's an arse. So yeah, the scene in the shower is pretty badass. Of course, she uses. I love the part where Claire's like freaking going one-on-one with the monster, right? She's like. Gets the shotgun, boom, shoots him, but then it doesn't kill him, and then it stands back up and finger goes, heads you lose. So of course she goes, heads you lose, and literally loses with his off with his head freaking his head explodes like that. So yeah, that scene was fantastic, So yeah, I enjoyed this film. It's really blast. It's a blast. It's got some fantastic really excellent special effects. It's got some fantastic action scenes, so yeah, I enjoyed it. Of course, there's this thing called the Arcadia. There's a place called Arcadia. They think it's some kind of place, but it turns out to be a ship. So yeah, of course, it doesn't quite end well because when they go on the ship, of course, like I said, I'm going to cut this view. It's not the longest view ever. It's not a great season for members, but I almost forgot to do this review. I was like, oh, bugger, I knew I forgot something, right? And I had to go and do it. So I've got to do it because I do the reviews on mirror film. So yeah. So anyway, of course, one guy escapes. One arsehole, escapes off the plane. So the plane, of course, it lands on the freaking ship. So it's like they're going, what the hell? But yeah, I like those things with the hammers. They're pretty bad. I was trying to get through the gate and stuff like. It's like Jesus, that thing is huge. Even the guy shoots through the head, and it's like, what the hell? Got no chance. At the end of the film, though, right? It's like they land on the ship, right, and then they go down below. Of course, you see the umbrellas on. A bit of a spoiler there. You see the umbrella, you think, oh shoot. And of course, guess who's on there? Wesker. Of course, you think, how the hell did he survive that? Jesus Christ. Alice survives. He survives. So yeah, it's just like wow. He's a great character, Wesker. I do like him. He's fantastic. He's on that. He's been on quite a lot of Resident Evil games. He was in Resident Evil 5. He was in Veronica, which is a good game. I like that one. He was actually quite scary in that because you can actually see more of his strength in that one compared to the other ones. Like you see straight he's using the T-virus and stuff like that. So is it T-virus he uses on him himself or someone else? So yeah, my last mover. Great action scenes. So they have like you see the guy who landed on the and he's like freaking like kind of like teaming up with Wesker in a way. And then you see these freaking dogs that look something from the thing with they look like dogs and then the heads just kind of go up and you have these freaking teeth. It's like something from the thing. It's like oh shit, yeah. Freaky. That's pretty cool. That last part was. They're all like in these. All the people on the survivors are actually on these like, on the ship, but they're on these like containers, like these things underneath the ship, in the floor. So they have to get them out of there. So yeah, but yeah, the last part is pretty awesome where Wesker almost gets away with it twice because in the first part of the film, right, it escapes and he blows the facility, the headquarters up from umbrellas, but then because killing all the clones, who she uses. Because that's part of the film is pretty cool because he tries it the second time around. And then Alice is kind of like not doing it this. No, you're not doing it the second time around. I'm gonna freaking blow you up this time. Of course, I know he's in the fifth one. Oh, he's in the fifth one. No, I've only seen it once. So I don't know. So yeah, but the last one was pretty good. You think no, you've got no chance to survive that. Of course, I'm pretty sure he's on the sixth one. So yeah, he's on the fifth one. No, he isn't. He is on the fifth one. Yeah. So yeah. Actually, number 5 is pretty badass. I enjoy number 5 too. So yeah. So I'm gonna cut this for you short so I can go and do some stuff. So the way I'm going to give this film, I really enjoyed this. This is probably my second favourite up to now that I've watched Resident Evil film. I'll give this a 9 out of 10. Really good film. So yeah, 9 out of 10 for Afterlife. Great action scenes, great, really interesting story. I like the beginning of it with the slow motion parts and the headquarters and the take out all the Umbrella members and stuff like that. And of course, that Wesker kind of survives, and best if it survives because it wouldn't be fun if it didn't survive. It would be too damn easy. But yeah, Wesker's great, and this is fantastic. Yeah, so how you do, Wesker? So yeah, 9 out of 10 for Resident Evil Afterlife. Good film. Right, okay. My next review is Resident Evil Retribution. Really damn badass movie. This one. This film has actually has a returning characters. Characters like Luther West, his name is, I think it's Luther West, and of course Jill Valentine and Alice, and some of the characters from the first Resident Evil and the second Resident Evil and the third one actually. So yeah, so Retribution and badass movie. I love the intro to it. That's probably the best intro out of all the Resident Evil films, the ones that I've watched, all 5 films. Also, I'm going to watch the next one tomorrow, the final one. I'm looking forward to watching that. I watched someone's review and they said it wasn't very good, but to be honest, I like to be the critic myself and actually witness how either good or bad it is. So I look forward to watching. To be honest, I really genuinely enjoyed this one almost more than the other one. So yeah, of course, the first part of the film is fantastic. Where it's like takes place just after the last film, where it's like they get tapped by the helicopters when they're coming down like. So, and then I like the fact it's going backwards like. Now that scene was fantastic. Think about what's his name? Paul Anderson. In fact, his intros, he's always makes some cool, fantastic music and intros. He's always adding some cool shit, stuff in the film, like for instance, Mortal Kombat with that music, and this film has that kind of same cool shit, stuff with the music and stuff, where like the intros like where everything's going backwards, they're all getting attacked, but it's all backwards, and it's pretty cool. And then it starts going forward again. I love that. Of course, the only thing that bugs me about this film, no Claire Redfield and no Chris Redfield, which is kind of odd. They just vanish in this film, so it's like, okay, I don't know why, no idea why. Strange. But apart from that, a fantastic intro to it. Maybe because there's going to be too many characters, because they bring characters like Barry in it, and Leon Canada. And maybe there's a bit too many characters, I don't know, but they should have really did that for the sixth. I'm not sure who turns up in the sixth one, but I heard mixed things about the film, but you know, I don't care, because then again, this film got mixed reviews. The first one got mixed reviews, second one got mixed reviews, third one got mixed reviews, fourth one got mixed reviews, this one got mixed reviews, but I've enjoyed them. And then the sixth one's no different, so you know, final chapter, so yeah. But anyway, this Retribution, like I said, at the beginning of the film, you see the intro, you know, the fantastic, awesome, unique intro, but it's all going backwards, which you know. And then later on in the film, you see her waking up in bed, Alice. But the thing is, though, she's like a housewife in this film at the beginning of the film, and it's like a mind freaking F. Because you think, hang on a minute, how come she's a housewife? And then you see the guy, Carlos, what's his name, the French guy from the, I think he's French, from the second and third one, and they're like married or something, and they got like a kid in it. It's like, what is going off? It's fantastic though. I love the way they did that, because you think, oh, this is interesting. Makes you think a bit, because you think, Of course, you know that she's not the real one. Of course, it's just like a bit of a spoiler there. Of course, she's not the real. That's not the real Alice in the film, of course. Because you see the part where like they're both like having like a bit of a chat, right? And there's like you know, and she's like whacking his backside and stuff like that. You know, like a husband and wife kind of thing, you know. And then he gets attacked by a zombie, and it's Jesus Christ, and it's pretty ferocious actually. It's like 1 minute like chatting, and the next minute zombie pops in and bites him, and it's like, oh shoot. Of course, they're trying to escape up the ceiling, that they're going upwards instead of like through walls and stuff. So that scene was fantastic. It was like it was tense because she's trying to protect her daughter, right? And she's going up with the ceiling. Next minute, they're popping down, dropping down, and there's no one around. There's zombies and everything. Next minute, they're getting. Next minute, they're hiding in like hiding in a closet. Next minute, you see a zombie, right? And there's ones that freaking those mutated zombies, like where the things come out of the mouth, like there's freaky things where you see them like freaking attacking. Next to her, she's getting attacked by one. It's like, jeez, she's like beating the shit out of it, right? Of course, she gets like freaking. When you know she's trying to, she's getting attacked by that freaking zombie. Next to it, she gets attacked by a freaking husband zombie because he got bitten by a thing. The next minute, he's got one of those freaking. He's like a mutated zombie. It's like Jesus Christ. These zombies can run though. It's like Jesus, not like walking zombies. These things are like. These things can run, you know, not like walk and stuff like that. These things are actually a lot quicker. So anyway, you see her wake up again in like a umbrella facility where you see like Jill Valentine trying to get information from her. That's like, and of course she keeps pressing this. We keep hearing this freaky sound like waking up and making her like this horrible sound that keeps going off all the time. Of course, something happens in the film where someone hacks into the umbrella computer. Of course, it turns out to be kind of Wesker, and you know, a bit of a spoiler there. Of course, when she's like going down when you see her like pop up, it's one part where she pops up in the Tokyo. Of course, it turns out she's in this like I'll call it some certain parts. Explain a few parts. She took a few spoilers. She's like wakes up. It's like a facility thing, like a testing facility. Where it's like recreations of New York, Russia, and then what was the other place? Russia and Tokyo. And the first part is interesting because they're like you know the first part of Afterlife where you see that woman in the rain and she bites that guy. It kind of turns up into that part because it's kind of like where everything just starts happening again, with the music and everything. Where the guy. She's like all these people walking around it. It's raining and stuff, and it's freaky. And it's cool the way they've done that because I like the way they kind of like reconstructed that first part of the first film, part of the Resident Evil Afterlife, into this film. And that's pretty cool. That part was. I admit the scenes in this film are some of the best scenes I've seen in the Resident Evil series up to now. So yeah, and the fact that she's more human because of Wesker, but she can still kick ass in this film, and I like that scene, and that's just fantastic. Cool. Anyway, so. Like I said, she's like walking around like next minute, like all these people walk around, and like, and then she's getting attacked by the zombies, like chased by the zombies, and then she walks through this door, right? It's big, you know, it's like this building opens up, and then she's running down this corridor, and she's getting attacked, and then she's shooting all these zombies, right? And this scene was fantastic, where she's shooting all these zombies, right? And she's using this like freaking chain thing to as a weapon, and I love that scene because she finds this gun, like pistol in this like police car, on purpose, probably. So yeah, of course you have to have guns in a police car. So yeah, that scene was fantastic. I love Miller Majump, whatever his name is, Miller's character, because she's such a badass. And I think she's got a lot of charisma in this film. That's the reason why the film works. So yeah, fantastic scene. Yeah, so when she starts shooting all the zombies, boom, 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 it's fantastic. And then the way she uses her moves and the chain and everything as a weapon, it's fantastic. And she flips up and she does that. The film's got some fantastic. Actually, I think this film's got some of the best action scenes out of the Resident Evil films up to now, up to the other ones. So yeah, so this is the 5th installment of the films, and I've enjoyed it. It's been a while since I watched it. Actually, I watched it and I was like, wow, this film's fantastic, awesome film. I'm not sure, to be honest, which is my favourite up to the sequels up to this, because this is pretty close enough to the best sequel. Yeah. So anyway, so yeah, then she runs into Ada Wong, and she gets these, and then of course she's working with Wesker, kind of like in Resident Evil 4, the video game, where she's working with Wesker and stuff like that. So yeah, Wesker's pretty awesome in this film. Of course, he does pop up later on in the film, but of course I'll get to that part later. In this review, of course they have to escape this facility. Of course, Wesker sent a strike team to get them out of the facility, to rescue them. Of course, that's involves. Of course, this film introduces characters like Leon and Barra. Of course, it's still kind of mixed up because in the video games, Leon's in the second game, and Barry's in the first game. So it's kind of like different. It kind of changes the whole storyline of the game from the movies, but I don't really mind that because at least it introduces the characters, and I think it does it pretty well. Actually, I think it does it differently, but I think it's like a power universe where if it was a power universe and it's different storyline, yeah, it kind of works. I enjoy it. I think the characters are pretty well played out by the characters from the game. It's not perfect, but I enjoy it still. It's fun. It's a fun movie. I like the monsters that you see in the movie. I think it's pretty badass monsters. It's like a massive monster and it's freaking ferocious in it. Jesus Christ. I like the way, oh man. I like the way it freaking eats one of the characters. Like bites his head off. It's freaking freaker. It's absolutely evil. It's like a licker, but massive. It's like massive licker. It's huge. It's freaking huge. Pretty freaky actually. I wouldn't want to mess with that now. Dark alleyway. All red light zone. So yeah. So anyway. Like I said, I've enjoyed this film. It's fantastic. I'll say right now, I enjoyed it, so yeah. So anyway, I enjoyed it just as much as the second time. So that's weird, isn't it? Some people seem to watch a film, not enjoy it the second time, but me on the other hand, it's the complete opposite. I enjoy a film just as much. So anyway, did a good job with this one. So it's got some fantastic action scenes. Yeah, because it's a team that go into the facility. It's like they're on ice. It's like they're in like the I'm not sure where they are now. I think they're in Russia. I think they are. It's all found as snow and everything. So anyway, because you actually see the Russian thing as fly thing on this elevator thing. So yeah. Anyway, so they go down this elevator, right? Barry and all that, ready to rescue them. Of course, they run into problems themselves. They run into problems. There's like two teams. There's like Alice and Ada Wong run into the two. They go into this like New York facility testing. They're in the facility, right? But it's like a testing site in New York, and it looks like New York. It's like freaking massive. Of course, when it's light, right, you actually see the thing above them. So, anyway, so they run into the two monsters from Resident Evil Afterlife. Remember the one with the massive hammers? But there's two of them this time. So there's like two, and they're like, "You must be kidding, man! Bloody hell, there's two of them!" And I love the way they're blown both up by blowing a car up, you know, which is fantastic. That scene was fantastic with the blown by film. It's like, I wouldn't do that if I was you. And of course, the scene is so well done. The action scenes in this film, you get shot on this film as much as you like, but the action scenes are some of the best you've seen. So yeah, it's fantastic. Really genuinely enjoyed this film. First one felt like The Matrix. This one kind of has this like mixed bag of action movies. It's like Matrix and some martial arts movies. So yeah. So yeah, like I said, I enjoyed this film. It's absolutely really, it's a blast. It's a blast. It really is. If you don't call it Resident Evil, I think the film got, you know. So yeah, if you don't call it Resident Evil, I think the films would have got better reviews. Because it's Resident Evil, people think nothing like the video game, so I guess give it a bad review. But yeah, I think the storyline's solid too. So yeah, it's not gonna be a long review, hopefully. So because I'm gonna put all the scenes together, so it's gonna be like different days. I like to do the films reviews fresh after I watched the movie. So anyway, so yeah, like I said, it introduces all the characters or most of the characters from the video games. Of course, they're getting attacked by those two tall zombie things with hammers. Of course, the other group, like not Wesker, Leon or what's getting attacked by these, like, I'm not sure actually, that zombies with guns. It's like they're getting attacked in this building, right? And of course, they're shooting at, they've got guns and they've got guns. Of course, when they escape, right, they get attacked by this like freaking massive freaking monster that's freaking awesome. It's like massive, right? It's like a liquor, right? But just think a liquor twice the size. It's massive. It's like huge, and I'm thinking, holy shoot, it's massive shit. Of course, thinking, right? Yeah, they're getting attacked by them. Of course, before that, when Ada Wong and Alice turn up in the town, you know, like where she was with you know, when she was married to her Finger's character, they turn up in the same area, testing facility. Of course, it's all like empty now. There's no one there. Of course, they run into the girl there who thinks she's a mother because she looks just like her. Oh, she runs into another zombie man with those freaking tongue mouth things. Of course. Anyway, so let's just fast forward that part. They run into another group. They run into thinking. Oh, I don't know how to explain it. The characters from the first Resident Evil turn up. Of course, they're with Alice. No, they're with Jill Valentine. Of course, she's got one of those spider things on her chest, those red things. Like in the Resident Evil 5 game, where she was affected by that in the video game. Of course, controlling her. Of course, they attack her, right? And the guy from first Resident Evil, and the girl from the first Resident Evil mover, and the guy from the second Resident Evil film, he's there. They're all like teamed together now. Of course, they're cloned or something. Of course, they're all like having a massive shootout with each other. Of course, Ada One escapes. And Alice escapes, and of course she goes as turns up in this like train station and that woman turns up. Of course, there's another clone who helped her escape from the house. Oh, how the hell do I who helped him in the car? She like drove him out. Of course, she looks just like the character. So it's kind of like a cloning system where they look exactly like the other characters. Like, oh, Jesus Christ, it's hard to explain. It really is without being confusing as thick. It's without being confusing as hell, you know. It's like, Jesus Christ, it's like, and I hate hearing myself talk sometimes. So anyway, so she gives her a gun back to help them out. And of course they all run into each other. The group do, Leon Kennedy and Alice, to protect the girl, right? Of course, they're trying to escape the area. Of course, they go down this elevator. Of course, they run into the other group again. It's like a massive shootout. And of course, the evil monster, the monster in it, isn't. No, actually, what happens in it? Of course, I missed this part. Of course, there's one part where they escape the guys that are shooting them. Of course, with Alice and the Leon, of course, they escape, right. The problem is, they're escaping the car, right? Of course, they're getting chased by the guys with the guns. Of course, after that part, the monster's like knocking the zombies out of the way, the zombie shooters out of the way, and then they go down these steps, right? Still getting chased by the monster. Oh, this scene was pretty cool. I love this part. And then the monster's like knocking them out of the way. It's like they're going down the road. They turn up in the train station again. And of course the monster's not dead. Of course they're going through the tunnels and stuff like the train station tunnels. Of course they turn up at the submarine area. It's like a submarine part. It's like these submarines there. It's freaking. It's a long. It's not a long film, but it's a lot to explain in this film because there's a lot happening in this film. It's hard to explain. I suppose if I was watching it, explain it more, it'd be easier. I should really do that. Next time I do watch the film, instead of like doing the review, I'll watch it and do the review at the same time. I mean, it'll be a lot easier to do, to be honest. It really would be. Watch it twice, probably not to. Be a lot easier too, because it's hard to watch a film and explain what happens in it, because it's a lot happening in this film, especially the shootout and stuff here. So anyway, they escape the, and okay, let's cut this video short. They escape the facility, they blow it up, right? Of course, they're on ice. There's like ice above them, so they're like escaping this vehicle, right? But when they're doing that, they get knocked over by some a sub. Literally, they get knocked over. Next minute, Ada Wong, who escaped with Jill Valentine, is like captured by Jill Valentine's. After the girl's captured, saved by the monster, right? Because she gets took by the monster. Barry gets killed. So there's a lot of characters that get killed in this film. So they escape, they get knocked over by, and then next minute, Ada Wong comes out the sub with Jill and that girl in it from the first film. Of course, she's with them. Of course, they, you know, so it's like a big. It's like the girl injects herself with the virus, right? Of course, she's more stronger now. She can't, you know, she gets shot and she can actually heal herself. And then the bullets kind of come out of her fingers, like, because they've shot her. Of course, you've got Leon and that black guy, Luther, versus that girl in it. And you've got Jill versus Alice. Of course, she's like really strong and stuff like that. There's one scene where the woman hits Thing in the chest, right, and he kills her. Kills him by, you know, it's almost, he kills him and stops his heart because his, I think his bone hits it breaks. She breaks his chest somehow and she kills him, stopping his heart. Of course, you got Leon tries to take her out. Of course. But there's one part in the movie where this part is pretty cool. Then where she sees zombies at the bottom, right? Underwater zombies, like fish zombies or whatever. They're right underwater, right? And she uses that. That scene was pretty cool. I like that last bit where she kind of goes, "I don't have to kill you." And I love that scene where she shoots the ice run, she drops down, right? And next minute, these zombies grab her, the girl in it, who's been affected by the virus. Because I'm going to cut this video short, there's a lot to talk about, it's difficult to tell. And you'll grab her, and you see these freaking zombies underwater. It must be about 300. A lot of zombies, must be 1,000. They're all underwater, I don't know how they survived. I suppose they're dead, right? They still don't need to breathe. And they're all grabbing her, right? And they drag her underwater. It's like, Jesus Christ. And it's like, there's a lot of zombies. I'm like, wow. Scary as hell. And of course, Thing has pulled a thing off her chest. Alice pulled the mind control thing off her chest, the spider thing, of course. Of course, she has to shoot the balloon thing. Of course, later in the film, like, they escape in a helicopter. Of course, they turn up in Washington. Of course, at the White House. Of course, then you see Wesker sitting at the president's chair. You know, he's like the president in the film. Right? He's like sitting there like that. And then he affects Thingy again. It's a bit of a spoiler in the film. He affects Alice again with the virus because he needs her to fight against Umbrella and the monsters for the human race. Fight for the human race, which is kind of interesting. Twisting the whole. Of course, they team up together. It's like weird. So I'm looking forward to watch the last part, the last movie, see what happens if they actually do team up together right at the end. So I don't know. So this sounds really good. Really enjoyed this film. Like I said, they like the White House, and it's like awesome. It's fantastic the way they like. Oh, West is kind of like the team leader, and it's like we're working together now. So yeah, I enjoyed this film. It's a lot to say. It's a lot to talk about in this film. So I'm gonna cut this review short now. Cut it off. Finish it off now. So the rating I'm going to give this film is out of 10 is a 9 out of 10 because I really enjoyed it. I thought the intro was fantastic. So yeah, 9 out of 10 for Retribution. Really enjoyed it. Great action scene, good special effects, and fantastic visuals. You know, really good visuals in this film. I mean, I think the film's definitely up to his game a bit, and the film's definitely up to his game. So yeah, 9 out of 10 for Retribution. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. So yeah. Right, my final review of Resident Evil is Resident Evil The Final Chapter. I've just finished watching this right now, and what a movie it was. Action-packed all the way. Some good effects. Some returning characters. There's some not so returning characters in this film. So yeah, I enjoyed this film. I was watching some view a while back. I won't say who it was, but he was like back. I mean, certain parts I suppose I agree with him because there was some parts that was dark and they were shooting. It was like, but apart from that, I enjoyed it. I had a blast watching this film. Really did. Of course, you got the returning characters, but there's some characters there. The only thing that bugs me about this film, non-returning characters. Oh man, I was just like, wow. I won't say who because it might spoil it, but you know. What I like about this film is that they go back to the Hive. So at the beginning of the film, right, it follows on from the last film where they end up in Washington with Annister's, but she's on her own this time in Washington, which is odd. There is a strange moment which you think, why is she on her own? Where's the rest of the survivors? But anyway, so you see her in Washington, right? Of course. Of course, it's weird because you hear this kind of noise, and she hears this like a noise in this she goes down this these stairs, right? She ends up in this. No, she ends up in this room, right? She ends up in this room because she keeps hearing this blooming noise all the time. So it's like, and then it's minute you see the you see the you see his computer stuff like that, his screen and stuff like that. And next minute you see the red green pop up, and she's like, and of course she wants Alice to go to Raccoon City again to get the antivirus. So she sends the Raccoon City to the Hive from the first Resident Evil movie, which is cool. I like the way they kind of went full circle from the movie. Pretty cool the way they did it. I thought pretty cool. There's a lot to freaking process this film. There's a lot happening in some films. When there's too much happening, you've got to explain too much. But I'm not going to explain too much of the review. So it's just a quick review. It's not going to be a long one. So yeah, she goes to well, of course, when she goes on her way to Raccoon City, of course she runs into Umbrella's members. You know, like part of Umbrella, right? Of course. Then she runs into Isaac, whatever his name is, right? The guy from the other Resident Evil films. Of course, he's alive, and you think, how's he alive? And there's a slight bit nuts in this film. Literally, he's like religious. I know, I'm not joking. I'm just, wow, he's lost it. It's completely nuts in this film. Of course, there's a slight bit of a twist. I won't say what. It's not going to be a spoiler. Might be a little spoiler, but not many. So yeah, badass mover. There's a cool scene in this film where she's like driving along, but next bit she's getting attacked by this freaking like these flying she's like getting attacked by this fly. I don't know what she's driving. No, she goes into this room, and the next bit this dragon thing, this flying thing pops up, right? It's massive. It's like a cross between a dragon. I don't know. It's like a cross between a dragon. No, a cross between a bat and a moth. I don't know, it's like a weird dragon-shaped monster thing. It's pretty cool actually. If you look at the trailers, that's what it is, so yeah. Anyway, she's like trying to run away from the figure thing, you know. Because I like the part where she drives, there's one part where she drives a vehicle into it, and that's a pretty cool scene. So that scene was pretty cool, where she drives a vehicle in one of them, so yeah. Scene was pretty cool actually. She's a badass character in this. I like her, I like her moves. She's a good actress. She really is a good actress. I think she's a solid actress. Yes. Anyway, she runs. That's just a scene that's part of the film anyway. So anyway, she runs into Isaac. Right? She's like caged, like doing cages. These people like all locked up, and they're all like scared of Isaac because he's completely batty, literally. He's like all religious now. So of course that plays in the whole. Now, well, before I mention the rest of the talk, at the beginning of the film, mate, it does explain how the how the virus was spread, why it was spread, how it was spread. So it's kind of like a prequel to the first part on how it was the first person was infected, which is quite interesting. So it was like trying to find a cure, certain things for the. Of course, there's a slight bit of a sinister twist in the whole movie. So yeah, I enjoyed it though. Fantastic. Isaac's a crazy character, but he's a good character. So I like the fact that Wesker returns on it, and Of course, the last Resident Evil film, you think he's on her side, but then there's a bit of a twist, and he's like, no. So, I like Wesker in it, but I kind of wish I saw. The only thing is, I wish I saw more of in the film, like more kind of like more of Wesker, you know. So yeah, you did see him a lot of me, but it's not like I don't know. It's not. I think he played more of a part in the last film. I think the fourth one was it. So yeah, good film though. Really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, but there's certain parts that bugged me about this film. I'll get into that in a bit. I won't say too much. All I can say is that the bloody characters that didn't return. Anyway. Anyway, that says she has to go to the high from the first movie. Of course, on her way there, she runs into Isaac. Of course, I like the part where he's like, he's like a tower. He's like, yeah. You see the zombies behind her, right? She's like attached to the vehicle. They've got this big massive vehicle that they're driving. Right? It's like I don't know. It's like a tank. It's crossed between a tank and a train. I don't know. It's massive. Anyway, so they're turning from behind me, like freaking, like a bait, kind of like bait thing, you know. So the zombies are following her, right? Of course, somehow she makes her way off it by using a bike, which the bike scene is pretty cool. I like that scene. Where there's a bike on the actually thing itself. So yeah, I like the way she escapes on the bike. That scene was pretty badass, I tell you. Because in the trailer, right, there's a music in it where people were like complaining. They don't do that in this film. It's not in this film, which is kind of... Actually, I quite like that scene. I thought the trailer was pretty badass, that music. Don't know why people seem to criticise that music. Beats one direction any time. Right, rubbish. Anyway, so... So when she's escaping, that scene was pretty cool where the tank vehicle thing is shooting at her and she's just dodging, like Mission Impossible. And there's like explosions, and there's vehicle explosion. It's like... Scene was pretty badass, you know. That bike is pretty cool because before that she tried to get Nick one of those bikes, but then she got electrocuted because of the security thing on it. So yeah, and that's how she got captured by by Isaac and stuff like that. Of course, then she runs into like these survivors in this building, like this massive building. Of course, there's one guy that doesn't like her. I don't know why he's acting all kind of thing. Of course, he runs into Claire Redfield. And then you think, well, it's Chris Redfield. So anything that bugs me about this film? Chris. So anyway, that's all I'm saying. Because that's what annoys me about this film. I like the film, but heck, where was the rest of the characters in the movie? You went to the final chapter, and where's the rest of the characters? It makes no sense. I would have thought it had all the characters from the last movie all together. It would have been sick. Anyway, Isaac is after them. Of course, he's got zombies trailing behind him now, so he's bringing them to the where the survivors are. Of course, they have to protect themselves. Alice and all the group of survivors that she meets, and Claire. So they start having a massive battle, right? That scene was pretty cool. It's like where they use these drums, right, to blow up the feet. I love the part where the zombies somehow get into the building, right? They're all like in this like the middle part of the building. It's like this, then they drop some gasoline on the zombies, right, and then they set them on fire. That scene was pretty cool. I like that scene. I like the way they turn the tables on Isaac's and group of crazy people. So yeah, the guy who does martial arts is pretty cool. I like the martial arts scene. That's pretty cool. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, so later on in the film, right, I'm cutting this video short. They go to the middle part. Remember the Resident Evil 2 when the whole place blows up and there's like a massive hole, right? Leaves a hole anyway, so there's a massive hole in Raccoon City. I was like, Jesus Christ. Of course, they have to make it in the middle of that, you know, where the hive is. Of course, when they go down there, you see these dogs freaking turn up, these freaky dogs. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I mean, they're like freaking dogs, crazy dogs. Yeah. But a bit like the dogs from the other Resident Evil, kind of worse. So anyway, when they make it to this tunnel. It's like a massive tunnel. No, they have to drop in the water first, and they go to the tunnel. Of course, there's like turbines. That scene was pretty cool, actually. They go for the turbine, but the thing is, the turbines get turned on. Next minute, they're getting pushed into the turbine, sucked in. Of course, one of the characters meets the grizzly end at that part, at the end of that part. So yeah, that scene was pretty cool. I was like, Jesus Christ, because they're quite strong, these turbines. They're literally getting sucked in, like Jesus Christ. There's another part when Alice ends up in this room, and it's absolutely eerie as hell. It's very eerie. You see these dead bodies everywhere. And I thought I thought you were gonna see the chainsaw zombie, but you don't. So you do see a chainsaw in it. I thought you were gonna see like a chainsaw zombie, like in the game. But no, you see this other monster who kills one of the characters in the room, and this thing's freaking huge. This thing's like freaking zombie on steroids. You know, it's just freaking man. It looked a bit like Baraka from Mortal Kombat. You know, the Master Teeth and stuff like that. Yeah, it looked a bit like him. Of course, Claire Redfield. Claire Redfield's in a tank. Don't know what she's doing in a tank. She's dropped into a tank, so she's out of the easy way. I'm in a tank. Of course, Wesley's is waiting for her. Certain parts don't kind of make sense in this film because Wesley's in one certain part of the room, then he's in somewhere else. It's kind of like edited together weirdly, the film. There is certain parts that kind of made no sense, but you know, I suppose. Yeah, that scene was pretty cool. But yeah, I like that scene. I like I like the fact there's a slight bit of twist because one of the characters turns out to be on Umbrella side, and she's like, who do you trust? And there's a part where she says, how do you know it was me? This person said, he says, you're still alive. And and that scene was funny because she has a point there. If you're still alive, that means you're part of Umbrella. Yeah, so you must be Umbrella. So yeah, good. I enjoyed it there. It's a blast. Really enjoyable film. Loads of action. But definitely not my favourite one, I don't think, because I think where's the rest of the characters that they did have in this film? So yeah, I can say a lot about this film. Yeah, like I said, she's trying to get a cure for the virus, of course. I won't say what happens at the end because it's kind of a nice ending too, but at the same time, it kind of opens for a sequel, which is kind of odd. That's the only thing that baffles me about this film. Before sequel, and it was kind of like, huh? I don't think there will be a sequel, to be honest. I think they're finished. That's it now. I think that's the last one. I think that I heard that they're rebooting the films now, so they're going to be like more close to the video game. So yeah, I enjoyed it though. Hopefully they do reboot it and make it more kind of like close to the. But I still love these films to bits. They're their own film, so yeah. Actually, you know, if you think about it, these films are quite successful. They're probably the most successful video game adaptations of all time because they did Street Fighter. Then they did one film. I enjoyed the first Street Fighter movie. People hate that film, but I enjoyed it. It's fun. It's fun action. Then there was Mario Bros, which I like. It's not perfect, but it's still fun. It's not a perfect film. It's not a great film. Of course, then there's Silent Hill films, which I think are probably the second most successful video game adaptations. I think, because I enjoyed both Silent Hill films. I think they were solid. And then there's that Tekken film, which I enjoy, not perfect. There's Mortal Kombat, which is a good film, but then the sequel wasn't the best. I enjoyed it, so I like both films, but the first one was the best, Mortal Kombat. But then you have these films, which made 6 films altogether, so yeah, which is successful, because sometimes when they make adaptation of a film from video, they just make one and that's it. Flops. But these films are actually pretty good, though. They used to put this heart and soul in these films until just like they used to make a film and then, you know, make a sequel and then make another sequel, then another one because people want to see more of these films. So yeah, I enjoyed it. So I'm gonna give this rating out of 1 out of 10 now. Between 1 and 10. I give this one an 8 out of 10 because okay, right. I get to the negative sides afterwards and the positive sides first. So good special effects, some really good special effects, good action scenes. And I like the storyline. I think it's kind of like different to the other films. And I like the fact it has a more apocalypse feel to it, like the end of the world and stuff. Like it just has that feel, and it kind of feels like the third Resident Evil film actually, with its desert feel, certain parts, kind of. You've got certain returning characters like Wesker and Claire Redfield and Alice and all that, and it's great. You know, even Isaac, what his name is. That's the positive side of it, and the action scenes are fantastic too. So yeah, I enjoyed it. Some really good sense of humour too. So yeah, and the negative sides, I think some parts were a little bit dark. You know, when they're shooting, but that's the only part. But apart from that, I think it was not as bad as some people made out. You know, someone said in the review. So, some non-returning characters bugged the hell out of me about this film. Some characters don't turn up. I thought, where's the rest of the characters from the last film? So yeah. And that's the worst part of it. There's another part that kind of baffled me. The part where they're in this room, right? she's like trying to think how to kill this guy, right? It's Isaac. Then she's like, you see her actually reacting, you know, kind of like sure what she's gonna do, and then he's doing the same thing. It's kind of, that scene was kind of weird. So he's kind of thinking what he's gonna do to her, and that's what's gonna happen. And she's doing the same thing. That scene was kind of strange, but very odd scene. Yeah, apart from that, I enjoyed it. 8 out of 10 for Resident Evil Final Chapter. Really enjoyable film. It's not perfect. It's not my favourite one, I don't think, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. So yeah. Actually, it's a good way to go out, I'd say. It's not a bad way, actually. It's not anticlimax. This film definitely doesn't have an anticlimax feel about it. So yeah, 8 out of 10 for the Final Chapter. So anyway, there's more reviews of the Resident Evil movies. Sorry about this, a bit flawed some of them are, because I was like rushing some of them. So yeah, before I go off, follow me on ResidentEvil.com, follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat. Have a nice evening, and I love like I said, I love Resident Evil. I think Resident Evil reviews of all 5 or 6 films. 6, that's 6. And if you put comments upon what you think, what's your favourite Resident Evil movie? And so anyway, so I better get going. Have a nice evening and put these scenes together. So, bye.